Map was my brain freeze. I can't remember. No, it's Ackle on Wastes.
Wastes. Boom. There we
Mind
go.
games.
All right, guys. Let's head straight into this game. This is the deciding map, of course. Very, very important. A lot on the line for both of these players, but only one can advance. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner as the purple Protoss player representing Millennium. What can he do? It is Feast. And his opponent admitting in the lobby that he was sweating quite a lot here. Very, very excited to see what he has on offer in game number 3 after coming back from 1-0 down. We have, from NRS, Welmu.
So, both of these two players having a little bit of banter in the chat, saying whoever wins this will qualify, thinking that the winner of this will get through to the finals. So that is, of course, very, very exciting. There is prize money on the line as well for getting through to this, and it's pretty exciting, I must say. This is the sort of point where I get very, very excited with matches, because let's face it, the ace match is always tense. When there's so much on the line, a WCS place on the line, it makes it even tenser.
Yeah, I think it's this is a very difficult situation, but the players basically have been saying in chat that whoever wins this needs to go on and try and qualify, but there was also a quick mention of, no, whoever wins this goes on to the next round and loses to the Zerg player, which is actually quite interesting to note, because if you remember, Maddles, during the beta, I think even Protoss and Terran players were saying, haha, it's great, I'm playing against Zerg opponents all over the place, and unlike in Wings of Liberty, I'm destroying them every time. And yet, as we got closer and closer to the major tournaments, we started seeing a very big shift in balance. A lot more Zerg players just coming out and winning tournaments and starting to find again, in Heart of the Swarm, how to win games. What's your view on how this has shifted?
They were given new life.
Oh,
My
dear.
life.
I see what you did there.
Did you see what I did there? I did.
I
Of course,
see what you
I
did.
think what it comes down to is it's just Zerg, once you work out how to react to certain things, it becomes not easy, but it's quite simple once you know how to deal with different compositions. And I think a lot of Zerg players were just so used to, on the end of Wings of Liberty, relying on the Infestor and how powerful that was, that when it came into a whole new ball game where no longer they could use that, they had to really relearn quite a large chunk of the game and compositions that worked, more so than other races, I have to say.
Yeah, they're very reactionary, and you need to be able to deal with what your opponent is doing, as opposed to dictating your opponent's response by doing what you're doing. I totally see what you mean there. But even still, it just felt like Zergs were lagging behind during the beta, and then all of a sudden they came charging out of the gates. We're all there going, haha, Zergs are completely screwed now. And of course, if you're StarTale Life, you're like, what are you talking about? I just go and win anyway. And that really happened. I mean, Snoot won, of course, at the ESET UK Masters as well, so we have first-hand experience of watching Zergs win at Heart of the Swarm. Totally possible scenario out here, as we have the third gateway now going down for Welmu as the Mothership Core pops out.
So, I think it's worth noting that we've also got the Twilight Council just finishing up for Feast there. And that is a very early Twilight Council to go down, and he's going for the DTs that Welmu has used against him in game 1 and 2. Will Feast be successful this? We will wait to see. But currently Welmu just moving across the map with that Mothership Core, gonna try and do a little bit of damage.
A massive amount of mind games going on here. Feast going for the DTs, saying, well, my opponent didn't get that to work against me, so I wonder if he's expecting it to be used against him. And I think this Stalker, on seeing the Sentry and the Zealot at the ramp, will be thinking to itself, hang on, if there's a Sentry there, he might have something to hide. Let's see exactly what's going on. And he needs to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, 2 Stalkers, 3 Stalkers now, and the Mothership Core up against just 1 Sentry. Vision of the high ground granted by the Mothership Core makes it very difficult. A good little warp in here for Welmu. Does get 1 Stalker up, and of course the Mothership Core will help as well with a little bit of extra DPS, but the Zealot will chase down this Stalker, will get taken out, but the Sentry now goes down. A lovely little snipe there. Has the Dark Shrine been spotted yet? The answer, no, I don't believe it has. And this means now the Welmu has come up here. He's in a really, really nice spot. He is just really forcing Feast to pull a lot of probes, and this is now a bit of a danger hold.
I'm surprised he didn't try and pick off the mothership core. Okay, he's doing that right now, and maybe a little bit late there. And here comes a warp in of a DT. Is it going to be enough, though? Welmu now inside the base with 6 Stalkers, Probes, and the DT trying to do as much damage as they can. The Probes need to get pulled now as well. The Dark Templar desperately trying to hold here. You don't necessarily want them in as a defensive unit. And the mothership core is on 3 hit points. A single hit would actually take it out right now, but it's now starting to regenerate its shields as well. Feast in a lot of trouble.
Jorisar, we've got a DT warping into Welmu's main. There was a pylon put in the main base itself. It is starting to work away at all of these probes. And the Observer is ever so near to completion, though. But this is the sort of counter-attack that Feast so desperately needed.
Oh, 3 Zealots and an Observer are going to put an end to that. That would have been a game changer if the Observer wasn't there, but Welmu currently on 49 supply versus 28. There's really not too much that can be done at this point. The worker supply is 25 to 20 in favor of Welmu as well, and Feast is just looking... It's such a difficult position for him to be in, and the forward pylon does get spotted. But DTs and Zealots being warped in aren't going to do too much good at this point because there are Stalkers here to defend as well. What Feast really needs is something like 3 rounds of warp-ins inside the main base to hopefully pick apart this army. But if he doesn't even get that, then I fear this is curtains potentially for him.
Yeah, this is, well, it's a really tough spot. I think one of the key things to note is that actually the probe count is only 4 in favor of Welmu, so it is pretty close there. But all of the tech has been for these DTs, and now that there's an Observer out, it means that obviously it's not going to be too effective. So we can see the Welmu just picking off a couple more Stalkers, trying to get another one, should not be able to get away and does get taken down. So that of course is good news for Welmu, bad news for Feast, who's currently only at 28 supply to 47 of the Red Protoss player.
Yeah, the worker supply only 4 in deficit to Feast, like you mentioned there, Maddles, but the army supply 20 to 14 in favor of Welmu. He's just doing everything correctly at this point. Feast, I think he started Blink there and then cancelled it as well from his Twilight Council, so really he's trying to come up with a plan right now, and he's going to be morphing in an Archon at his natural expansion, but this is going to be a tough hold for him. He's over 10 supply down. And if Welmu decides to attack at this point, it could end up being huge damage being dealt.
It could be. I think you're completely correct there. Welmu also starting his natural base, whereas Feast has not yet started his. Welmu just really got such a good army supply lead. It's admittedly, it's only 4 army supply advantage, but that is actually quite sizable, especially when he gets out that Immortal that's on its way now. That's where things, I feel, really will start switching, because you can deal with those Stalkers so much better. The Observer there means the DTs aren't going to be that viable, so it's the Archon that is really going to have to do a massive amount for Feast if he wants to do well here.
Oh, nice force fields, trying to trap a Stalker, almost able to do so. Leading with the Archon is Feast at the moment, doing its job of trying to tank as much damage as possible while the rest of the army gets to work. And there are 2 Archons now moving up here to the natural expansion. Can Feast turn this around? So far, he's been microing it like an absolute champ. The Zealots going down for both sides, and now we have the Archons mainly morphing. Oh my goodness, I think Feast might be able to even things out or take this.
Yeah, we've got the DT just now going down. The Observer came back. Feast, though, he's really just punching through this natural. Welmu being forced all the way back. Doesn't quite have enough units, but the Immortal is coming down. That's going to help as long as it doesn't get focused down, which is what's occurring right in front of our eyes there. Does get sniped off. This Archon doing oh so much for the purple Protoss player. A second Immortal on its way in, but just look at this. Welmu's in a tremendous amount of problems here. Nearly all of his army is gone. Welmu just down to 12, 10 army supply to the 24 of Feast. This is not looking good for him.
Yeah, trying to take and hold that expansion turned out to be not the correct decision here. And GG, good luck as Feast wins game number 3.